Hi, my name is Jasmine and this is Jasmine's Gems, and I'm just a girl, not a guru. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about how to detach and stop caring about situations, feelings, people, or anything like that. So I'm someone who used to really care about people and situations, and I would harp on things from the past until I learned how to detach and stop allowing the past to control my present and future. So the first thing to do to try to stop caring and detach from a situation, a person, a feeling, is to feel your feelings. If you're just going to try to sweep your feelings under the rug, it's going to take longer for you to process and move through those emotions. So allow yourself that space to grieve, that time to feel angry, whatever feeling you're feeling, allow yourself to feel that. Don't try to dismiss it. Don't try to diminish it. Don't try to say, I shouldn't feel this way, or I should be moved on by this from now. If you're feeling it, feel it. Because like I said, the more you try to push those feelings down, the more they're going to come up, and more than likely they're going to come up at the worst possible time in the worst possible way. You'll probably just explode, and nobody wants that. So once you've been feeling your feelings and you've identified what you're feeling, now you need to identify why you're feeling that way. So for instance, if you're going through a breakup and you're really obviously sad, you're angry, you're grieving, you're upset, why are you sad? Why are you upset? Why are you angry? Why are you grieving? Did somebody mistreat you? Did you let somebody cross boundaries? Did you forgive someone too many times where you abandoned yourself? Once you identify the root issue of that feeling, it's also easier to move past those feelings. So I know for me, when I went through my first breakup, I was really just trying to not feel anything, and that made me feel things a lot longer than I should have, honestly. So I was feeling a lot of anger, I was feeling a lot of sadness, a lot of grief, and I did obviously I cried about it the first week or so, but then I was I should be over this. I don't want him to have this much power over me. So I was trying to pretend to be okay, and I wasn't. So that differs from how I was feeling with my second breakup with my ex-fiance, because I let myself feel those emotions. I let myself be angry, I let myself be sad, I let myself be mad at myself for, putting up with this behavior and not leaving sooner and missing the red flags. But once I let myself feel those things, the second breakup, it was so easy to move on. I moved on so much quicker than I did for my first breakup. For reference, my first breakup, I probably wasn't over him over a year, versus my second breakup, I was over him, this sounds crazy, but within a month. And obviously, you still have your moments where something triggers you and you're okay, that actually made me upset. But it's more so it made me upset because I didn't like that I allowed this, or that this person did this to me, not necessarily me harping onto those feelings. Once you identify why you're feeling those feelings, for instance, with my first breakup, I was feeling a lot of anger because it was really he just abandoned me one day. And the same thing happened with my second ex, but I felt more betrayed. Obviously that was my first time being broken up with, so I felt a lot of betrayal, a lot of anger, and I wasn't allowing myself to feel that. So it was coming up in other ways. So road rage, things like that. I was working out twice a day and I was still fuming. So once I really sat down with myself and I'm this is why I feel this way, and journaling helped, actually processing why I felt the way I did, that helped a lot. That helped relieve a lot of the emotions I was feeling. And of course I was still feeling certain, emotions and moving through those. But once I sat down and found the root problem or the root cause, it helped me move on a lot quicker. This doesn't have to be, only breakups. This can be, if you're getting really irritated with your job, this could be okay, well, why am I feeling irritated? Maybe you're not feeling seen. Maybe you're not being compensated fairly. Maybe it's just a toxic workplace. Maybe it's your soul saying you're not supposed to be here. This is a temporary place for you to get money, but you're meant for something different, something bigger, something better, something more aligned. Another reason you might be holding on to feelings instead of detaching and kind of letting go is because maybe you need to work on self-forgiveness. Maybe, like I said, maybe for me, maybe I missed the red flags, and once I acknowledged that and I forgave myself for, wanting to see the good in people, it was easy for me to move on. Because it was okay, I'm human, hindsight is 20/20, but now I can take those lessons and I can move on for the better, instead of, harping all this energy into being mad at myself, not forgiving myself, and just actually allowing myself to be human. That will help you let go a lot quicker. Especially if you struggle with perfectionism, just letting yourself be imperfect. We all have our vices and we're not perfect, like I said. So just allowing yourself to be human and just detaching once you acknowledge that. Something that's also helped me learn how to detach and move on and let go of things is knowing that I do everything with pure intentions. So if I know that I move with pure intentions, then I don't have guilt, or I shouldn't feel some type of way for a situation ending, or a person mistreating me, or someone or something being removed from my life, because I know my intentions were pure, and if it's not for me, then God's gonna remove it and give me something better. This is where you have to know that rejection is just redirection. And learning how to learning how to detach doesn't mean you're not a caring person. It doesn't mean that you're not loving, you're not full of abundance, and you're not cold. You can still be very warm, very loving, very generous, very giving. But knowing when to detach from someone or a situation will save you so much energy, time, and heartbreak. You just have to know which situations are worth your time and energy versus the situations that aren't. And sometimes we're not able to detach from people or situations because we're still giving them mental energy, even if they're not in our lives. So you need to redirect that energy onto yourself or reciprocated relationships. So start pouring back into yourself. Start reading, start journaling, start listening to podcasts, YouTube videos, all of that self-improvement to realign your focus onto yourself. And if it's, pouring energy into relationships that are reciprocal, do that as well. You shouldn't be in a one-sided relationship with anyone. So all of that energy should go towards people or things that are pouring back into you. Stop giving power to people, things, or situations that is draining you of your power. If it is a person, like for instance, an ex-relationship that you're struggling to detach from, also removing all of that from your life, like deleting all the pictures, deleting the text threads. My favorite thing is blocking. That's like my favorite thing to do. Act like they don't exist. Like literally act like this person's a ghost, or a situation. Like I said, it could be anything, but if we're talking about people, act like they're a ghost. And it's gonna suck at first, I'm sure it will, but once you get through that initial like hump of feeling your feelings, going through like the grief period, and you'll reach a point where you're like, okay, I'm kind of tired of feeling this way, essentially. Like I'm tired of crying, I just want to move on. So sometimes you also have to make the conscious decision to move on and to detach. Once you catch yourself thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm still going over this situation in my head, you have to be like, stop, like pull yourself together. It's not worth my energy, it's not worth my time. You deserve better. Those are just quick ways and quick tips to detach from people, situations. If you find this helpful, comment below, or if you have other tips to detach, also comment below. Like I said, I'm just a girl, not a guru. And if you like my content, be sure to subscribe, like, share, follow, I don't know. Like, comment, all that fun stuff, whatever you want to do. Thanks for watching. My name is Jasmine, and this is Jasmine's Gems.